These are always my favorite Carside reviews to do, ones that are recommended by people in the comments. They told me to go see Parasite. I had not even heard of the movie, went out and saw it last night. Here's my thoughts. First off, I want to thank those of you that recommended Parasite. Like I said, I had no idea this movie existed. It's a foreign film. It wasn't playing in many theaters by me in Minnesota. I went with 4 other guys. Only one knew what this movie was. He knew it had subtitles, and that was basically it. So, of course, that turned off a couple people in our party right away. They didn't want to have to read anything. And that's fair. Typically, I do get bothered by text on the screen. Not only is it usually ugly looking, but also it can sometimes take away from beautiful cinematography. Thankfully, Parasite does a good job of not putting words on, not having much dialogue when there are some beautiful shots to be had. And this is a very pretty looking picture. Going to a film, not seeing a trailer, and not knowing the plot is a very fun experience, one I highly recommend you do if you can. It's not easy. I mean, usually in the title it gives something away, but with the case of Parasite, like that has a lot of meanings. I assumed I was going into a thriller, a horror movie, and that was not the case at all. This is very much a 3-act film, and all 3 of those acts are completely different from one another. I don't even want to say much about the story because I think it is one that you should try to go in as fresh as possible. All I'll say is the initial plot focuses on a very poor family that is swindling a very rich one. If you're looking for information on this film, you've come to the wrong place. This is called Carside Reviews. I review the film right after seeing it, typically, or a day or two later, so that I have fresh initial reactions to things. I don't know the names of actors or the director, writer usually. It's just kind of the feel more than anything else, which I find value in when others do that as well. That said, this is a South Korean picture. I don't know the names of any of the actors. I barely remember any of the characters' names. The main protagonists are Ki and his family. I believe that's his name. They live in the slums, a very, poor, impoverished area of South Korea. And they happen upon some luck when a friend of Ki's tells him that there's a family he tutors for, and he should try to get his foot in the door. He put in a good word for him. He gave him this special rock that gives him a bit of luck. Possibly has something more to it, I don't know. There are a lot of red herrings in this movie. I saw someone reference Quentin Tarantino when describing this, and I can see that to an extent. There's a lot of dark humor, there's a ton of misdirection, red herrings, tons of kind of like playful moments that don't necessarily lead to anything more spectacular. They're just kind of there. And what's really cool about this, and I said it earlier, this is 3 acts, and each act changes pretty drastically, and you know when those acts hit. They don't tell you, they don't need to, they show you. But even if it was just the first act plot that just kept playing out, I would have been more than interested in these 4 swindling this rich family for the entirety of the film and eventually ending up in the house and ruining their lives. Of course, it goes a different direction, but that alone was enough. Where it goes, however, is far more interesting, far more engaging. And we had some great discussion afterwards just about what we thought everything meant and how everything shook out. The performances are great, though. The soundtrack is really good, visually stunning. There's nothing bad for me to say, other than I wish I spoke more than one language, because I think it would be more interesting without having to read subtitles. That's my fault, though. That's not the fault of the director or the actors. That's on me. Go out and see this if you can. Like I said, I saw it last night, so it's still playing in select theaters. I would see this on the big screen, though. It's definitely worth the trip. And if you like the idea of Carside Reviews, please subscribe to the channel, Adam Does Movies. I do these, plus movie feuds, where I pit 2 movies or more head-to-head. It's scripted. It's well thought out, typically. And it's a lot of fun. Leave a comment if you saw this film, and thank you again for those that recommended Parasite. I really enjoyed it. There were 2 other movies playing that I also wanted to see that haven't. One was Honey Boy. The other was Jojo Rabbit. I've heard nothing but good things about those. And there was the Lighthouse, too, which was not playing. I've also heard that's really good. So a couple more recommendations from the community. I think I have some sharp people watching. All right. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care.